Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I just want to kind of talk a little bit about Olivia more. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who she is the main protagonist of the TV series iZombie, which I never gave it really much thought, but I guess her name is supposed to be like ironic. Most of the time just referred to as Liv. And you know, being a zombie and everything and being undead and everything, because the show is an adaptation of a Vertigo comic book series of the same name, but the main protagonist in a comic book, her name isn't Olivia. I forgot what it is, but it's something else. So I wonder, did they change her name just to make it more ironic? Which prior to this show, like the only other instance where I've ever known the name Olivia to be shortened to Liv was Scandal. So that's just kind of a little side note on this. So, but nevertheless, the reason why I want to talk about Liv in this particular episode is just because it's something I've brought up in podcasts, but the only reason I've ever talked about it is like someone else has brought it to my attention like way in the past when it comes to this show, and that is that amongst any character within the iZombie show, that Liv is the most sponge character in a sense of like we never really get to know her personality, because we didn't really get to know Liv prior to her becoming a zombie. Like, cause like the moment we knew Liv as a human for like a little while, and even then we didn't really get to know her because immediately afterwards she became a zombie, and that's all we've really known her as. Now, if you're unfamiliar with iZombie, basically what happens is when a zombie eats someone's brains in this universe, they adopt that person's memories as well as their personalities, which is what Liv uses to kind of have her psychic visions and, you know, solve crimes. Well, the thing is, like, that becomes a staple for Liv because she practically does it every episode. So there's like, even then there's little periods where you don't really see her outside of her brain, you know, which that whole aspect, there's give and take with it, there's good and bad with it. Obviously it helps her solve crime, but obviously there's occasions throughout the series Liv has dived into eating a brain so she doesn't have to be herself, so she can be someone else. So that's why it's like going back to the aspect of her being a sponge. I mean, it's interesting I say that, like, you never really get to know her personality, which you kind of do, but it's just like more often than not you don't get to see and know Liv, I feel like. But I feel like there's moments here and there that kind of break through, like, that show you who she is. I mean, obviously she's a caring person, because if she didn't care, she wouldn't do what she does. She wouldn't eat brains to help solve crimes, you know, kind of get justice for people. I mean, granted, if you want to break it down, it's like, well, it benefits her too, because she gets a supply of brains at the morgue so that she doesn't have to kind of go out on her own and get them, you know, without hurting people. These are people who are already dead, so she, you know, it's kind of a win-win situation. Because the thing is, this only applies to Liv, because you see it a little here sprinkled everywhere in the show when it comes to other like zombie characters, them adopting other people's personalities, but usually it's Liv who's the main focus of it. Like I said, it happens like every episode for her, so she's always jumping from one personality to another. There was one instance, I'm pretty sure it was last season, in season 2, Peyton, there was a person, it was like a college student, Liv ate her brain. And Peyton kind of noticed, she was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, because like this personality, it's actually a lot more like who you originally were. So that means even Peyton kind of realized that on some level Liv wasn't exactly herself, because I guess that kind of comes with being a zombie, but I feel like we never really get to see that aspect. Maybe on becoming a zombie you lose a little bit of yourself along with it. I mean, because there's other people, you take someone like Blaine, for example. Blaine was always kind of a scummy dude, but he became even more scummier the moment he became a zombie, because of the whole, like, I mean, him like monopolizing off the whole zombie business. But it's like, even here, like, I feel like the question is like I said, it's really hard to say, because we never got to really know Liv as a human. Like, obviously we see her kind of like once in a while pretend to be herself again, like, you know, because the thing is, Liv is the only one that goes the entire series never dyeing her hair or like tanning up her skin to look human. Like I said, with a few exceptions of when she's kind of going undercover as herself. And in actuality, there's another element to this too that kind of shows Liv kind of preferring to keep things the way they are, is because obviously in season 3, Fillmore Graves introduced the aspect of like, oh, they found a way so that zombies can get their brains without having to worry about the whole personality switch or memories kind of interfering, because they had that little like tube paste that like zombies eat. I mean, apparently it's not as good, just the way you see most people's reaction to it, but still, like, it like nullifies that whole aspect. But Liv, over the course of the 3rd season, this is kind of spoilers I guess, but like she never really eats those, she just keeps eating the brain. So it's like, no, she's fine with the way she does things, because ultimately she can help people by doing what she does. It's actually an aspect the show I feel like never really dives too deeply into it, like, because it's not like Liv does it for recognition, but it's just like, oh, like, you know, helping the cops solve a crime and stuff like that. It's, you know, like, you know, it's like, I've been given this opportunity, me being a zombie and everything, so why not try and take advantage of it, make some good come out of this bad situation. But this whole situation got me thinking about something I've never really thought about before, and that is ultimately when everything is said and done, what will Liv do? Because obviously she wants to become human. She's always wanted to be human. That hasn't changed since the beginning. It's just that over the series she's become more comfortable with being a zombie, but she has still proven the fact that she's okay with becoming human again. She's excited. She wants to become human again. But that starts bringing up other things. It's like, well, the fact of the matter is she does good work as a zombie. Because she's a zombie, she's able to eat brains and obviously help solve people's crimes and stuff like that. But the moment she becomes human again, she won't be able to do that. Which isn't to say that's a bad thing, you know, like, you know, it is her life. She's entitled to just to be a regular person again. But it's still a situation of like, oh, she has this great power and this great responsibility essentially, and it's like, shouldn't she stay a zombie to make use of it? But at the same time it's like, well, no, once again, it's still her life. It's just something when you really break it down, it's kind of interesting, you know, like ultimately deciding like what she would do. And ultimately that will come down to what this show decides to do in general. Will they, like, you know, will they give her a choice whether she, like, will it be a situation that kind of forces her to have to be cured or stay a zombie? Because let's not forget too, like, even with the cure situation, that's still not 100% guaranteed, because if she gets scratched by a zombie, she will go back to being a zombie. There's no permanent cure set in the show. It's like you could get temporarily cured and immediately turn back into a zombie because of whatever circumstances. And maybe something like that will happen to Liv going forward. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of interested to see what she will ultimately do in the end. I don't know, like I said, there was just kind of an interesting thought that I'd never really thought about too much before, which is interesting that I never thought of that before, but nevertheless. My question to you is just, what are your thoughts about the whole situation? When you look at Liv, do you look at her as a sponge, or do you like, no, do you feel like we've gotten enough to really know who Liv is over the course of the series? I think we kind of have, so I don't think she's completely a sponge. Obviously, that sponge aspect to her character isn't like totally not there. It still represents, like, I'd say about 70-80% of who her character is, at least that we know. So I'd like to get your opinion on the whole subject. And also, if you have watched the show, do let me know what some of your favorite brains are that she's eaten over the course of the series. And I will note, I do know that this is not only the third video I've done recently that's me talking about zombies, it's the third video I've done recently that's also me talking about iZombie in particular, but I can't help it. Like, it's a really good show, and the fact of the matter is I want more people to watch it because it's such a really good show. It's well worth anyone's time. So I also will guarantee you this probably won't be the last time I'm talking about zombies in the near future either. So there's a good chance of that, a pretty good chance of that. But, so just letting you know ahead of time. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this video. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good